Mayor, Council, I agree with one of my colleagues that you all are actually at a very historic moment for a variety of reasons. One, because the mayor showed the leadership and vision to even bring up this debate in the first place about the districts. And frankly, because you all appointed a good commission to discuss this and to spend a good deal of time taking almost 300 people's testimony and bringing this before the community. But also because you set off something which in the over 40 years that I've been involved in city politics has never happened before, which is a true grassroots movement around this issue. You allowed people to become involved and engaged, and for 18 months, citizens have been discussing this and debating it, and they came to a consensus which was debated first among themselves and then debated before your commission, and which has been debated up until yesterday by some of these groups. And all of those groups came to one answer, except for the one group here tonight, and that answer was 10-1. Those groups include everybody from the Austin firefighters to your Human Rights Commission to the Gray Panthers to the League of Women Voters to the NAACP to LULAC, and I'm not going to read you the names. We have sheets out there that do that. But it is probably the broadest based coalition that I have ever seen. And some of you have a pretty clear idea that when I say I've ever seen, that means a good deal, because I've been involved in politics here since I was 6 years old, and that was a very long time ago.
She did.
That group didn't come to that conclusion because they had a common political agenda. I can assure you the Tayana Democrats and the Republican County Executive Committee don't have very much in common. But they all came to the same conclusion that we not only needed to change our form of government, which I think the majority of y'all, not all of you all agree, but that we had to come to a same system, the way of changing. And the reason none of them wanted a hybrid system is because there were some facts they were aware of. One of which is that for the last 41 years, since 1971, when we began electing all of y'all on the city government individually, we didn't have the mayor elected by the council anymore. We've had 55% of the elected officials in this city, 50% of the council members, and 15 to 17 mayors elected from an area of 4 zip codes, which represent 10% of the population. We've had single-member districts, except there's only been one district, and that was 01, 03, 31, and 59, and that's been the district where the majority of y'all have represented. And they thought it was probably a good idea to put an end to that system, because nobody north of 183 has ever had a council member. Nobody south of William Cannon has ever had a council member. And South Austin has averaged 1.2 council members and 1 mayor in 41 years, and they thought that was probably time to end that system. And they understood something about a hybrid system. And I'm not attacking my friends, but they understood that if we went to a hybrid system, what was going to happen is that same district, which would be a district under the proposal we're in favor of, would end up with 1 council member and probably the mayor, because it's elected all but 2 in the last 41 years, and probably at least one of those 2 of those at-larges, if not 2. So they'd end up with 3, maybe 4 seats, and they'd still be 10% of the population. And folks probably decided, I know the folks I've met with, that they probably thought that area had enough representation in the last 41 years to last probably 41 years. Now, the truth is that I know that none of you sincerely want to kill this issue, that you're sincerely interested in seeing this pass. I know some of you personally, and some of you I've only met a little bit, but I don't think any of you genuinely want to see this issue die. But the statesman has told you, and I will tell you, with 40 years of professional political experience, putting more than one thing on the ballot's a bad idea. It runs a very real risk in a November election where everybody's got to vote from everything from president to justice of the peace, and then they got to find this issue, and they got to find the bonds that you all want the citizens to pass, and a whole lot of other stuff, including the ACC trustees, which it matters some to me, seeing I work there, that putting 2 of these things on the ballot is going to jeopardize passing them. And there's one thing that has 30,000 petitions, and those petitions are sitting here in these boxes next to me. We're not ready to turn them in yet, but we will. And there will be more than 20,000 valid names in those 30,000 petitions. And my friend Fred McGee may think 30,000 citizens signing a petition is a nuisance, but I think it's a really important statement by the people of this city of what they want to see on a ballot. And it's a process that you created in our charter. And I want to thank Mayor Pro Tem and Councilmember Martinez for supporting putting this on the ballot, because I think it's an important process that what 30,000 people, 27 organizations, 45 individuals, and 1,000 volunteers stand for is something that matters in this city. And I frankly think the majority of y'all do too. And I don't think when that gets on the ballot, it ought to be confused by something that one organization out of 28, 27 being on the other side, thinks is a nice idea, ought to be on there to confuse folks. I think you have a historic chance to make a change, which a lot of us have tried to make for a very long time, to make that change happen. And I know that most of you, if not all of you, are committed to making that change just as much as I am. I used to do this for a living. I don't anymore. I work for ACC. The time I've spent on this has all been volunteer. And the truth of the matter is, so have almost all the people we have working with us. So have all the citizens on this list of organizations. We want to work with you to make a change, to make every part of this city have a voice on this city council. So please, put 10-1 on the ballot, or don't put anything on the ballot. Let us finish our petitions and we put 10-1 on the ballot. That's my request tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Peck.
Mr. Young.
Peck. Question for you, Councilmember Spellman.
Mr. Young, I want to ask you a hypothetical question.
Sure.
Suppose the following scenario. You submit all those petitions and AGR makes the ballot. This council decides to put an 821 proposal on the ballot as well. So we've got two different ballot items available for citizens to vote on. And you are advising the 10-1 folks. Maybe you're running the campaign. How would you run that campaign?
You're going to put us in a position where you're going to have the people's plan versus the politician's plan, and it ain't going to be pretty. And I'm sorry that's the way it's going to be, but that's what it has to be. Because the people put this on the ballot, and you all put it on the ballot, and that's the way it's going to break down.
So that's what you're going to say?
Pretty much. Because that's going to be the facts. We put this on the ballot, over 20,000 legitimate signatures, over 30,000 total signatures, and some majority of you all put the other one on the ballot. Would you, in fairness, how do you think I'm going to present it?
Well, here's why I asked, all right?
What? That's, council member, I'm not being ugly. I know you and I like you, but I do this for a living. I've done this for a living for 40 years. And how would you present if you were me? My job is to win. My job ain't to be nice, okay? And the bottom line is, the facts are the facts. That's the people, and there's 7 of you up there, and whatever majority votes for putting something opposed to us up there, that's how it's going to break down.
Okay, well, the reason I asked you, I didn't ask anybody else because I knew what you were going to say, and you said exactly what I expected you to say. But more important, you said what I expect would actually happen if this council did put an 821 on the ballot and AGR did make the ballot as well. And if either of the two succeeds, only if a large proportion of people vote for both of them, which I think is accurate. I think a very large plurality of the Austin public would be happy with either of these two. But the only way that any of these two will actually get more than 50% if they're both on the ballot is if most of those people decide to vote for both of them. And what you're going to talk about doing is going to make it much more difficult for those people to vote for both of them.
What happened when the council did this in 1992, when the petition was put on there for SOS, and the council put something else on there, the SOS petition thing got 64% of the vote, and the council thing got 34% of the vote. We don't have to have a majority, and you guys don't have to have a majority for us both to win. Look, you all are my friends. So I've supported almost all of you for re-election, okay? This isn't something I enjoy, but you asked me what I need to do to pass the proposition I believe in, and I'll do what I have to do. And no, I don't agree with you that both of them have to win to win. Only the one that has to win is the one I'm in favor of.